Hello. All right, today's a weird day because I'm wearing shorts. For some reason, I've had it in my head for the last 20 years of doing this that it is not okay to wear shorts when I work. But it is currently 92 degrees in this room. I don't even know how I would pull leggings up onto my legs. So, shorts it is. I also decided that because I'm wearing these shorts, we're not going to lay down on the ground where I have to stick my legs up in the air. Today, we're going to do a standing workout with a chair. So let's start out. Let's check my timer. All right, let's start out standing facing the seat of your chair, and we'll do a couple cat stretches in a squat to get warmed up. So when you start out, I like to wrap my hands around the corners of the chair just because there's more play here for my wrists. If that feels unstable to you, go a little closer together. And then I want you to start out just putting a little bend and release into your knees. And try to position your hips so that you can feel your weight in your heels. So I don't know if you noticed, but I'm kind of sitting back and down as I increase the bend in the knees. Okay, so sit into that spot where you feel your heels. And now shift your weight forward to your hands and then back into your heels again, making more of a horizontal movement forward and back. Keep your back neutral, sensing the opposing energy reaching the top of your head one way and the sit bones towards the walls behind you. And just one more time, shifting forward and then dropping and rooting down into the ground with the weight in your heels. All right, into that cat. As you exhale, tuck your tail under, start to flex your spine into a C shape and try to keep about the same amount of bend to the knees. And then inhale to stick out your tailbone, elongate your back, lifting your chest and chin to make a very slight extension. When you exhale, start to curl the spine again, spread your shoulder blades apart, let your head hang down, hold, and then roll back out on your inhale. Sorry, I said hold, I shouldn't have held. Exhale, tuck your tail under, round your spine. We're just going to keep moving. Inhale, roll back out into extension. One more time. Exhale, tuck your tail, flex. And inhale, lengthen back out. All right, so we reset the straight back. Make sure your weight's still in your heels. And now I want you to fully extend your legs and then bend them. And work really hard to keep the weight over your heels. Ideally, this is creating a stretch for your hamstrings. Okay, and so you may feel that very close to where your sit bones are, or possibly at the top of your pelvis around your SI joint coming into your low back. Resist flexing your spine when you straighten the legs and resist leaning forward so you can still feel the chain, the tissue from under your foot up the back of the leg. One more time like that. And then sit it back down again. All right. Lift one arm off the chair. This is how you'll really know your weight's in your heels, because if you have too much in your arm, you're going to knock your chair over. I want you to take the free arm. You're going to rotate to one side, reaching it under the other arm. As you inhale, we're going to twist the other way with the bent elbow. Exhale, rotate one side, inhale to the other. And we're going to go with a straight arm to a bent arm. Now, my pelvis is rotating with me, so if you watch my knees, one's straight. One more time. Sorry, I have a little technical difficulty. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. I thought something was wrong with my microphone and that this whole thing didn't record. It's not true, it's not true. All right, sitting back down, take your other arm. So I'm gonna reach under, and then I'm gonna rotate, drawing the elbow back, and then across, and return. I must admit something to you now. I have no idea how many reps we did, because my brain got off course with the beeping. So let's do one more after this one, and I hope the number was 6. All right, back to the center. Now, you might need to walk yourself in a little closer and then stand up just to make sure your back doesn't grab. Okay, let's head around to the other side of your chair. I'm going to work facing the chair now, and I want you to begin, legs parallel with your feet about hip width apart. Keep a fingertip touch to the chair, so again, we're not leaning into it too much for this series. We're going to go into a set of squats to begin. Start to flex at your knees and your hips and then rise back up. When we're going through the squat motion, you can always try letting go of the bar to make sure you've got the load over the heels. You're trying to create a lightning bolt shape with your spine, hinging forward at your hips when you flex your knees. When you're standing back up, see if you can observe how you balance out your posture. Your glutes activate to push your hips forward and up. Your abs contract to prevent you from, say, pelvic thrusting. And then your upper back muscles engage to make sure that you're able to see like the horizon line when you rise up. Now let's go down and do some small pulses. So I want you to bounce gently at the end range of your squat, feeling the pressure of your heels pushing into the floor to give you that spring back up. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, then I'm going to turn it to squat into a heel lift when I stand. So I'm going to squat, stand, heels lift, and drop. Squat, stand, lift, and drop. So I love this because it kind of simulates going through a jumping motion without having to take off the ground. But because we're not actually jumping, there's another one of those kind of catch yourself rebound motions where your abs have to pull in because all your body weight's flinging forward. So great time to feel the core doing something functional instead of just bracing the brace. After this one, let's just do heel raises alone, up and down. Try to put a lot of the pressure along the big toe and the index toe side of the foot so we can use this when we're walking and running to generate force to push us forward. Hold your heels up. Now try to bend your knees, keeping your torso vertical. So this is in a plie style rather than a squat. I can't have my weight in my heels now because they're lifted, but it's still good to visualize that your sit bones are lined up over the heels as you go up and down. If you're standing up against a wall, you could visualize that you're sliding down it and that you're pushing your weight backwards into it. Let's pulse this. Drop down and bounce again. Let's do 2 more of these. I want you to hold down, tip forward a little so it's more like the squat again, and then lower and lift your heels repeatedly. Try to be smooth in the tempo. This one might feel just a little wiggly because we're emphasizing the deeper of the 2 calf muscles. 2 more. Finish with your heels up. Come back to vertical. Now pulse to the very top. I want you to emphasize the last 2 or 3 inches of straightening the legs. Try to feel your quadriceps in the front of the thighs, pulling your kneecaps up as you extend. Ooh, can you hear me breathing heavily? This temperature is killing me. 1 more. I'm pulsing slow. Drop your heels back down. All right. We're going to take a backward step into a lunge. Let's do, actually, rather than just a step, let's do a little bounce in a squat and then step back to the lunge. Repeat the squat in the same leg over and over again. Depending on how big your lunge is, this might be another time you have to let go of the bar temporarily. Oops, did I say bar? I meant chair. This isn't a bar class. 2 more. All right, go down to that lunge, stay there. Adjust if you need to. Bounce the lunge. Try to keep your back heel lifted off the ground and emphasize dipping into the bend of the back knee. Hold here. From your lunge as your base position. Take 1 arm. We're going to do our good old rainbow move. Open a second position. Come back to that lunge. Oh, now I'm regretting these shorts. Amazing. Oh well. We've come too far. I'm not bailing out now. And twist. So I've got the heel up until I land. I plant it and lift it again. Open and in. 3 more. And 2. Stay open on this one. Drop your heel down. And just stand and drop. So we're just going to go through some second position plies. You're still going to have that great quadricep contraction I was just talking about before in the plie pulses. Try to root down into your heels. Activate the whole outer edge of your foot, and that'll help you enhance the sense of turning out at your hips. Drop down and pulse again. Head nodding, optional. All right, now from your plie, arm back out again. You're going to rise up and side bend and then come back down. Up and over to stretch and drop. Reach and lower. And you've got 4 and 3, 2, and 1. All right, from here in your plie, you're going to alternate lifting one heel, then the other. At first, you've got a minimal movement in your hips, but now I want you to kind of go with it and let your hips sway side to side. Last set. Press down into those heels, rise back up. All right, turn back into the chair. We're going to repeat this to the other side. I'm going to move my chair over because I feel real rude turning away from you. All right. So we started with a little bouncing squat. You're going to squat and step your leg back to lunge. Squat and then lunge. I'm watching all my neighbors go by now because I'm looking out the window. Everyone's melting. I love August. I hate my lack of air conditioning, but I love August. All right, finish in your lunge. Boink. Let's pulse that. So you're just going to bounce here. Try to keep your torso vertical, dropping the weight down into that back thigh. Now stay down. Let's use this as our base. Take your rainbow arm with you. We're going to pivot, turn out to second, and back into lunge. Rotate out and bring it in. Open and close. And let's do that 4 more times. This one's nice. Feels like it opens your chest a little. Last 2. Finish open. And we're just going to rise and drop through a set of plies here. And just a reminder, push down on the outer edge of the foot. Try to keep your knees turned out over the toes. Chest and chin lifted. Last 2. 1, drop back down and pulse again. And driving that weight down into the heel. See if you can feel that little springy action from your arch. All right, plie into side bend next. Drop down, take it up and over to stretch. And lower and reach. Make sure there's some movement at your shoulders here. One of them drops as the other one lifts. Last 2. All right, settle back in, reset your arm for support. Alternate lifting one heel, then the other. First with the focus on a real isolation of the leg and the hip. Then gradually letting those hips go. Last 2. And 1 more time. All right, come on up. Turn it into the bar. Okay, next we're going to bring a new position into the game. I'm going to have you make a V with your feet so your heels are in. Toes are turned out about 45 degrees. Hands on the bar again. Let's go back to a plie, but with your heels down. This time when you bend your knees, the knees are still going to separate over the toes like you felt in that second position we were just doing. With your heels together, you're going to feel a limit to how deep you can drop, though. And that limitation is coming right down from your ankle. I'm going to turn to face you. I want you to keep facing the chair. Let's go down to the bottom and just pulse down here. So still bouncing, generally holding that weight back, feeling your abs, chest lifted. Now stay down, and with your hips, you're going to make a hula hoop around and then back the other way. So from the side, around, and then back the other way. So I want a little bounce in the legs so that as I circle the hips, I don't feel real rigid. And that's why, like, if you know in hula hoop, you don't know how to use your legs necessarily. And 1 more to each side. All right, come on back up to stand. Now, we did squat into a heel raise. Let's do that from here as a plie, stand, heels lift, drop, plie, stand, heels lift, and lower. I'm going to turn to you again. Just want you to see when you lift your heels, they can separate. Drop down and up, lower, and lift. Let's do 3, and 2, and 1. Then drop your heels and just repeat the heel lifts. Up and down again. I'm going to turn sideways. We're going to do 3 more of these. And 2, hold them up, 1. All right, back to a plie. Now, your heels separated. Drop them just a little, wiggle them together. See if you can get your heels touching so you can really work the connection of your inner thighs. Just trying to find this. Should be work. Okay, now bend your knees and rise back up. If you are a person that wears high heel shoes, I want you to really think about what a shoe would be like. Your heels are lifted, but you're not holding them up out of the shoe. Your heels are positioned up and you're still dropping them down, right, so that you can feel the heel on the shoe. That's what I want you to create here. Your heels can't fall, but the energy of it is still like you're rooting the heels down into the ground. Let's pulse the top first. So we're going to go up, little release, up, little release, up. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's pulse down, drop and bounce into it. And 3, 2, 1. Rise all the way up, lower your heels. This move's called the train. You're now going to bend your knees, lift your heels up, straighten your legs, then drop your heels. Bend your knees, lift your heels, straighten the legs, drop the heels. Bend, lift them up, straight legs, and drop. Bend, lift your heels, straight legs, then drop. 2 more. Bend, heels lift, straight legs, drop heels. Bend, heels lift, straight legs, now drop, reverse it. Heels up, bend the knees, drop your heels, straight legs. Heels up, bend the knees, drop the heels, straight legs. Heels lift, knees bend, drop heels, straight legs, up and bend, lower, straighten. 2 more times. Heels lift, knees bend, drop heels, straight legs. Last one, knees bend, drop heels, straight legs. Lift heels. Hold your heels up. Bend your knees down again. And I want you to repeat the bounces we did before down here. All right, stay down and then turn your knees out and in slightly. So we're about to come to the hardest move of what I'm going to do with you today, at least in my opinion. Hold your knees turned out. To prep for it, great job keeping your neutral so far. I want you to do a pelvic tilt and then return to neutral. So this is our Urkel, return to neutral, tuck under and back out, and curl and release. We're going to do 2 more. And I want you to hold this last one. So you're going to keep that pelvic tilt. And then from there, lean back from your shoulders. Your goal is to make a straight line from your knees to your chest. That's water skier position. We're going to bounce here. You're going to increase the bend in your knees while you're keeping the clean line from knee to chest, using your glutes to push your hips forward and up. This should give you a nice burn in your thighs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on up, lower your heels. What did you say? That wasn't enough practice? I hear you. Let's do it again, but with your legs parallel. All right, so go back to your hip width stance. Lift your heels up. Let's take it from the plie bounces again. Sit on down and just bounce. All right, so just noticing the difference here in my parallel legs. Knees go straight towards the chair instead of before we had a little east-west action. Stay down. Now let's turn your knees together and open. Rotate in and out. My knees are sticking together. Great. Is this more than you want to know about my sweat? Probably. Hold there, pelvic tilt, tuck under, roll back out to neutral. Make sure you're not rising up out of your plie. I'm isolating the pelvis moving. That's right now where the burn in the thighs comes from. Hold the last one. All right. Lean back the shoulders, clean lining to chest, and pulse. Now I'm trying to keep the same space between the knees, aim them right at the chair, same energy from the glutes pushing up, abs pulling in, gazes forward at the wall. I'm going to lift it back up, drop the heels to be done with that. All right, step back from there. Hinge forward at your hips, put a little bend in your knees again, and try to make your back flat as possible by tipping your sit bones up. Then you can go back to straight legs. And if you just let your chest go, so your head's dropping between your arms, this will give you a stretch for your lats, for the upper body, We get a hamstring stretch in your lower body. And I'm going to have you add a little swing of your hips left to right. A little hip hike action. Let's do one more to each side. Come back to the center. Now alternate bending one knee, then the other. So when I do this one, I like to walk my hands a little lower down the chair. By bending the knee, I can hinge forward a bit more with my upper body. With the heel you're pushing down, try to drive that heel into the floor. Now let your hips twist a little with it. And not just your hips, I'm sorry, I'm doing my whole spine. My shoulders are twisting. My head's twisting a lot. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Get back to the middle. Walk it back in and roll it back up. All right. Let's have a seat on your chair. All right, so we're going to turn corner of the chair. Okay, but I want to turn that way a little bit. I mean, the angle. Now I need you to see the angle of my spine. Okay, so I'm on the corner of the chair, so I have the ability to get forward away from the back of the chair and have less of my leg on the chair, I guess. All right, we're going to do a little undulation movement with your spine. So you're going to begin rocking yourself backwards a little bit so you begin in a slouched position. Once you make that C shape, I want you to curl forward towards the floor. Lead with your gaze, lifting your chest and your chin to come back up. And now you can see my chest is really sticking out. I'm going to curl back, flex forward, push myself back up. Curl back, flex forward, lift from your heart. So I'm rocking from my flexion into extension 2 more times. Curling and lifting up. Last one. Flexing, lifting up. Last one that way. Now just reverse it. So stay in your extension. Let your chest fall. Your chin's going to be the last thing to drop. Now look at the floor. Roll up and then lift. So you've got to let your pelvis rock back of your sit bones. Come up over the sit bones to the front and then collapse. Roll. Losing my headphones. And flex 2 more times. Extend on the way down. Flex on the way up. And extend and flex. Excuse me while I reposition. All right. Okay, now a rotation with your upper body and then we're done. Leave one hand resting on your knee, take your other arm out to the side. You're going to rotate away from the supporting hand. And as you twist, I want you to lift your chest and your chin so you're looking up at your fingers. Then when you exhale, you're going to flex towards the hand on the knee. On the inhale, let's rotate away, extending your upper spine, and then exhale, turn towards the knee and flex. Breathe in, rise back up, lifting from your heart. Exhale, pull your abs in, curl forward. And inhale, up. 3 more times. Exhale, scoop those abs in, round. Inhale, lift, and exhale, flex. Inhale, up. 1 more time, curling down and lifting back up. I'd suggest wiggling over to the other side. All right, hand on the knee. I'm going to do it facing away from you a little so you can see what the other side looks like. So I'm going to start out with your arm out to the side, my big ta-da motion, chin up, looking at the hand. On your exhale, you're going to twist and flex your spine, and then breathe in, rotate away, and look at the fingers again. Exhale as you flex, and then inhale to lift back up. Abs draw in, curl using the breath. Feel the inhale as the expansion that opens you, and then exhale, deflate. And inhale, back up. Last 2. Exhale, rotate. And inhale, lift. 1 more time. Exhale, flex. And inhale, up. Done. All right, friends, that's all I got today. Hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week.